I've been holding off doing it, but I've been seeing comments about doing the sort of V2s of the meta tactics, and the first one is going to be the Meta 4-3-3 V2, new and improved. We've managed to scrape roughly about 2.4% extra win rate over an entire season, so I thought it was justified to release it. If you do enjoy these types of videos, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and if you enjoy rebuilds, you need to check out the Southampton rebuild coming out a few days after this, because this tactic is going to be put to the real test over 5 years, so you need to go and check that out, see what changes I make, see how I handle the game situations. It's a really good watch. Let's get into this tactic though. We're going to start with one of my famous Red Bull teams, up the Salzburg. So obviously Salzburg going to be the best team of the video in terms of the most dominant in their league. We have got a couple of wild cards in here to really test this tactic to the real depths of destiny. That was cringe. But Salzburg are obviously a very good team, and as you can see, they justify that statement with 20 wins and 2 draws, losing 0 games, and as you can see, picking up 62 points, a ridiculous season, invincible season, and a 95.43% win rate. A very strong start to this save. And obviously if we go to the competitions, you can see here, runners up in the Champions League. Now this tells me one of two things. Firstly, we got blessed in the run-ins, but secondly, the fact we've taken this team to the Champions League final. Yes, we lost it, but this tells me how overachieving this tactic can be. Overachievement central, because that is such a strong statement for a tactic, a remarkable start, and one I can truly be proud of. Now, competition-wise, the FA Cup, we are also going to win that, the Austrian FA Cup to clarify, against Lask in a 4-0 win, so very good there. But of course, going over to the stats, we can see the most points per game, the most goals at 117, the most shots, the fewest shots against. Possession-wise, 57% of the ball. I will say this is not really a possession-based tactic, but we'll take second place any day. Most dribbles being made, fewest conceded, and the most clean sheets. This tactic is really not the game style, but it is based around having lots of activity on the wings, letting players sort of have their ability to take on players, which is why we're going to dominate, especially the most shots for and the most dribbles being made, because I let the players have that freedom, have that little cutting edge to really get stuck in. Now, of course, to the data hub, we need to see 3.66 goals a game, 0.53 conceded, over 21.9 shots a game, and 87.99 and 88 really % pass completion, and a really high tackle win ratio. That is a tick. What a first season. But we're watching this because look at this. I beat Barcelona 6-2 on aggregate over 2 legs. Not a great game for Christiansen, I will say, but a full strength Barcelona team. We have come out and absolutely outclassed them over 2 legs. So we didn't get feeded the sort of, the position we got in the Champions League. We did deserve it, and to be fair, that's a really good goal. A really good opportunity to win the ball back. We made the most of it. Great link-up play there, and great pressing again from Capaldo. And again, we actually are taking the game to Barcelona. Now, I will say, of course, Barcelona do get their fair share of the goals. As you can see, they lose it again there. And is that going to be one of the own goals? Yeah, it is one of the own goals from Christiansen, and we are going to build up again here. This might be the other own goal. It is poor Christiansen. Nothing he can really do, though, but a very convincing second leg. 6-2 on aggregate. What a season. Now, I always say in my videos, Josh, why not test with a real challenge? And yeah, this is a real challenge. Burnley, first season, European football. Now, that tells me this tactic, one or two things. Firstly, it's incredible. Secondly, it just goes to show, with a couple more seasons with this team, you can really push them potentially into the top 5. That is a really strong first season. The stats probably aren't going to be worth talking about because we're not really going to be there for the stats. We're not really going to be up there. But overall, for a first season, that is going to be the conference, I believe. I will make sure of it. I am pretty sure that is going to be Conference League. How do I actually check that? Overview. It should... Hang on, what's going on here? Here we go. I nearly lost my head there. There you go. Conference League we are going to qualify for. So a very good season. Obviously a little bit off the top sort of 4, but that is mental to say with Burnley anyway. But a really strong season. The other competitions, semi-finals in the FA Cup, and obviously knocked out in the quarters by Chelsea. So really, I can't even say that's a disappointment. We are Burnley. We are predicted to finish almost rock bottom. I mean, it's one of them teams which you never usually get flying with, but this tactic really did get the most out of the players, and they put on a really good display. I'm very happy with that indeed, and of course, going to the data hub, it is going to be looking at 1.74 goals a game, 1.16 conceded, 13 shots a game, an 87% pass completion, and a 75% tackle win ratio. So I will say your games are going to be very close as expected with Burnley. You're going to be sort of winning your 2-1s, your 1-0s, maybe your 3-2s. You are going to be pretty much in that 1-goal region, which is why I always say make sure you get all 3 of the tactics, because then you can justify and sort of understand when you need to use what tactic for what part of the game, because a game changes in seconds. That's why you need all all three at your disposal, so you can change literally in a click, and it works really, really well. But a really strong season for Burnley. Let's go and pick out a highlight, because I'm sure in that mix of games, we must have beaten a powerhouse. It's not a powerhouse, but it is going to be Wolves, and it is going to be a away game in a 5-0 win. I thought I'd pick out a game with a few goals you can really understand and get to see how we get the goals, how we win, and a lot of it is done by high pressing. And as you can see there, high pressing from the goal kick, and he goes through Foster and sticks it into the bottom corner. Foster again now through into Brownhill. Beautiful give and go, beautiful play, a wonderful finish into the left-hand side to make it 3. A set piece again. Pairing this tactic with my set pieces feels like I'm actually cheating. They are that good. Through, beautiful from the right-hand side, back into the middle, in down the middle. Jose Sarr, what are you doing? And lastly, to the team nobody can hate, that is going to be Borussia Dortmund. Obviously, in this game, you've got Bayern, you've got Leipzig, you've got Bayer Leverkusen and Dortmund in that top 4 sort of battle. So obviously, who comes out on top? And we've come out on top quite convincingly here, only losing 2 games, picking up the most goals in the division, first and second when it comes to the average rating. Cabell picks up the most clean sheets, and Julian Brandt picks up the second most tied assists in the league. Again, David Raum, in another video we done recently, he picked up the most assists. He's done it again. He clearly is the assist king in the Bundesliga. But team stats, it is going to be the most points per game, the most goals, the most shots for, the fewest shots against, the most dribbles being made, the fewest conceded, and the most clean sheets. So we are really seeing a good defensive display and a very good attacking display. Possession-wise, we are going to be down in 5th place. Again, this is not a possession-based tactic. It's very much wing play sort of based, very attacking, high press, in your face, aggressive, and get goals, 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 and more goals. Now, to go over to the Poker, we are going to win that against RB Leipzig. We'll watch the highlights very shortly in a 3-0 win there, which is quite a good final. And as you can see here, the Champions League, unfortunately, Arsenal do us over in the quarter-finals. But the data hub, we are going to look at it, is going to be 2.59 goals a game, 0.53 conceded. So we're going to have a tidy 2-goal margin on majority of the fixtures we are going to be playing. Over 17 shots a game, a really high pass completion, and a very solid tackle-win ratio. So again, a really good display. When you've got that 2-goal margin between what you're going to be conceding to what you are going to be scoring, you can be quite comfortable in your seat. Not really too much stress. Of course, that Poker final against RB Leipzig, who were no walkover in this competition at all. But to be fair, I say that as we score in 2 minutes. We got off to a flyer of a start there. Now in the 30th minute, a little cutback. Julian Brandt into Sabitzer. It's a bit of a scrappy one in the end, but I'm not sure he's going to complain about that factor at all. As Sabitzer goes down the left now into Sancho, into Julian Brandt. It is beautiful. Now, of course, to the tactic breakdown. If you are enjoying so far, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It is completely free, and you can turn on the notification bell and never miss another upload with tactics and rebuilds. We are doing rebuilds as well. Be sure to give them a go. Even if you are a tactics guy, trust me, I try and make them as entertaining as I can, and I think people do enjoy them, so be sure to go over and check them out. And also, if you want to get over 14 perks exclusively to this channel, support me as a creator and help me obviously make these videos and carry on doing them, you can come over and join the other 4,100 people in the Patreon, where you get all 3 of these tactics today. You get them early, you get the rebuild files, you get the early rebuild access as well, you get priority in the rebuilds, and obviously the tactic request. You get one-on-one tactical help. I tweak your tactics. There's a massive group chat, and there's always 1 to 2 big monthly giveaways. And when I say big monthly giveaways, we're talking between £250, sometimes football shirts, match tickets, anything football related, or obviously gift card or money related. I like to give back because the support I receive from you is absolutely world class, and it means the absolute world, and I genuinely mean that. So let's go over and talk through this incredible Meta 433 V2 as requested. Let's reposition in the chair, get comfortable, let's lock in. So it is going to be the Gegenpress, obviously one of the most meta-based instructions or sort of tactical styles you can actually play in this game, still to this day, and we're going to back that up with a 4-3-3, a very strong tactic. Personally, I would favour the 4-2-3-1, but with a style like this, the 4-3-3 might honestly edge it. Now, to kick things off with the goalkeeper, sweeper keeper is by far the best role. I'm going to have mine set to defend. That is purely because I don't want him making anything too rash. Don't be too stupid on the ball, be quite composed, and that is why we've opted for that. The wing-back on the right is going to be on support, but we are going to have the likes of cross more often and also run wide with the ball, and that is going to be replicated for the left-back as well. We are going to have as much of a mirrored backline as we possibly can, so run wide and, of course, cross more often as well. We really want these wing-backs getting forwards, but also getting the ball in the box, because I like them getting stuck in. I like them to be quite attacking. I'm not that fond of wing-backs having cracks from the halfway line, or, you know, having cracks on the edge, but I like them to get forward and ping a ball into the box. In terms of the ball-playing defenders, we are going to have a couple of instructions on both of them. They are going to be set to dribble less and tackle harder. That is going to be the same for the right-hand side and also the left-hand side. So that is going to be a perfect mirrored back four to kick things off. So to clarify, the wing-backs, both of them on support, cross more and run wide, and both of the ball-playing defenders on dribble less and tackle harder. In the midfield, the first option is going to be the deep line playmaker is going to be scrapped for the defensive midfield player on support, who is going to have a couple of instructions. He's going to go with take fewer risks, shoot less often, and dribble less. So in the midfield, we are going to go with that defensive midfield player, and we are going to go with shoot less often and take fewer risks. And we are also going to add tackle harder and hold position. So it is going to be a few instructions. Obviously, we are seeing literally 4 on the board, but it just makes him a little bit more composed on the ball, not having wise cracks from the, really deep areas, being sensible with his passes, holding that position, and also putting in some tasty challenges. Over to the first player in the midfield, it is going to be the DM on support, and he is simply going to be on dribble less, take fewer risks, hold position, and tackle harder. This is going to give you a very composed DM, someone who's going to be very sensible with his passes. He's not going to be dribbling all over the gaff. He's going to hold that position really well, and he is going to put in some tasty challenges and basically be the anchor in this team to support the back line, and therefore we can let these other two midfield players be a little bit more creative. So on the right hand side, we are going to go with a central midfield player who is going to be set to support, and we are going to go with shoot less often and cross less often. As a player, I don't want him to be too crazy on the ball. I want him to be nice and simple, and of course we are going to add tackle harder on. That is purely because I like them getting in, I like them getting challenges involved, but I don't want him having wise cracks at the goal. I don't want him putting loads of crosses in because our wing backs are doing that. I don't want everyone just simply getting the ball in time and time again. So we are going to have him quite restricted, but he's still going to have a big influence on this team. Next to him, of course, we are going to go with a box-to-box because we want someone who can go forward and also come back. And to not overcomplicate things, I've simply gone with tackle harder. He is going to naturally go forwards, he's going to naturally roam as well. So a player who is going to go up but also come down. It's not a really risk-taking midfield like that, to be fair. It's quite composed because our front three are very attacking. So now over to that front three, I really want a tactic where I can focus on having the ball out wide, but they can cut inside. So I'm not going to go with inside forwards today. I'm going to go with wingers on attack, and I'm simply going to have them on the cut inside option. So as you can see, as an attacking winger, they're going to stay wider, they're going to get further forwards, they're going to cross from the byline, cross more often, dribble more, and obviously for me, they are going to cut inside. So it's quite a fair few instructions, but I want them to be doing this. I want both of them to be doing exactly the same and really causing issues for the back line. And the good thing about this is, although they are going to be staying wider, they don't get in the way of the wing backs who are going to get further forwards, because when these wingers have the ball, they are going to cut inside. So it means there is always going to be a good overlapping option from either side of the wing backs. And lastly, of course, it is going to be the meta role, the advanced forward, who is simply going to be set to the default. The team instructions all based off the gegenpress, of course, on the positive mentality. We are going to stick to the middle option. On your stream, it will be saying fairly wide. We're going to pass into space. We're going to focus down the left and the right hand side. We're going to go shorter. We are going to max out the tempo. We're going to run at defense, and we are going to leave this set to mixed crosses. So it is going to be nice and simple, very attacking minded, and of course focusing down the left and the right has always been good this year, and there is no reason to change it. Now in transition, we are going to go with a couple of things. We are going to go with counter press, we're going to go with counter, we're going to play quickly, and we are going to take short goal kicks. Now I will say, I don't know what team you're using back at home. If you have got really tall players, like a really big target forward, you can honestly go long with this tactic and it would still really work. I've always favoured a short goal kick because the passes usually come off a lot more consistently, but I'm not against someone obviously toying with it a little bit and tweaking it to your team. Now lastly, out of possession, we are of course going to rock with that much higher defensive line. We're going to push up the high press and line of engagement. We're going to use much more often when it comes to the trigger press. We're going to get stuck in, and because we've got 3 players up there at all occasions, we are also going to prevent short goalkeeper distribution. For a slightly more attacking variant of this tactic, which you might need to go and score more goals, because sometimes you always have those games where you can't quite get over the line, which is why you need the attacking variant. The goalkeeper remains the same. The wing backs on the right and the left are going to be drastically changed. Both going to be on support, but now take more risks, cross more often, dribble more, and run wide. That's going to be the same for the left and the right hand side. The ball playing defenders are now going to simply have tackle harder. We've taken off dribble less. We don't want them being restricted. They are simply now going to both be on tackle harder. So a bit more of a attacking back line, if you so will to say. A deep line playmaker comes in on support, on tackle harder. A box to box comes back into the team on tackle harder, exactly the same. The central midfield player, though, is now going to be on attack on roam and move into channels. So the real big change, of course, is a deep line playmaker coming in, and that central midfield player on attack is really going to elevate this midfield. Left-hand side, we've got a winger on attack who is simply going to be set to cut inside with the ball, and that's going to be exactly the same on the right-hand side, and the advanced sword also remains unchanged. And the reason why they've remained unchanged is because they're already very attacking, they're already scoring goals, you don't really need to overcomplicate things. Again, the custom gegenpress on the positive mentality, we're not really going to look to up it because we didn't really need to in this scenario. We are going to leave this in the middle, we're going to pass into space on this occasion, we're going to introduce the overlaps on the left and the right while playing out from the back with focus down the left and the right hand side as well. So it's very, very sort of wide focused, which is why them cut inside options are quite clutch. They come in and perform really well because you can't always be out wide, you need to be cutting in as well. So you get a real mixture with this tactic, and that's why it performs really well. A shorter directness match with that higher tempo. We're going to be more expressive, we're going to run at defence, and we are, of course, going to keep the mixed crosses because sometimes the low crosses are good, but as a general rule, the mixed crosses, you can't really go wrong because you're going to have that situation where you could do, you know, a bit more of a floater cross in, then a low cross, have a mixed on. You get the best of a good bunch, if you so will, if that's how you want to word it. In transition, we are going to go with counter press, counter, distribute quickly, and take long goal kicks. So again, because we are now attacking, I am willing to take that risk of not having the so-called 100% pass success rate from the back. If we are in a rush to get a goal, I want to go long, I want to get the ball moving quickly. So let's get the ball up the field and hope for a flick on, something like that, because this is to be used in emergency situations. And lastly, out of possession, we are of course going to deploy the much higher defensive line, the high pressing line of engagement, get stuck in, prevent short goalkeeper distribution, and much more often. Now to defend those games. They're very important. You can also have a tactic to defend those leads, and this is exactly why I am going to include this, obviously, in that free package. So it is going to be a sweeper keeper who is simply going to be set to defend. A wing back on the right and the left are simply both going to be on defend on the default, as are now going to reinstate the dribble less and tackle harder on the ball playing defenders. So 2 ball playing defenders, both on dribble less and tackle harder, and both wing backs are simply now going to be set to defend. A DM comes in on defend, on take fewer risks, and tackle harder. Nice and simple, very, very defensive minded. The box-to-box is going to be still in the team from day one, on support, on tackle harder. The central midfield player, a very low-risk option now. Support, pass it shorter, take fewer risks, dribble less, and shoot less often. Just someone to pick the ball up, make the simple pass, don't do anything stupid, keep possession, keep your head screwed on, is all I'm asking for. A winger on the left on cut inside and hold position, and that's going to be exactly the same on the right-hand side. Both of them now in the supportive role. And lastly, just so we've still got one player up there and willing to score the goals, that is going to be the advanced sword who remains unchanged. Based off the custom gegenpress on the balance mentality, this is going to remain in the middle. We're still going to pass into space. We are still going to focus down the left and the right while playing out from the back, purely because I want that still to be the DNA of the team. I don't want to completely change how we play. We are going to be a bit more sensible though on this occasion. We're going to go down to much shorter. The tempo is going to remain in the middle, obviously on slightly lower. We're going to play for set pieces with the mixed crosses, and we are going to time waste. We are trying to win a game here, so sometimes the dark arts of football has got to come in, and therefore that's why it's going to be selected. Now in transition, it's going to be a little bit different. We're going to play to anyone across the back line with no favoured distribution type. We're going to slow the pace down. However, I still want to be an attacking team, so we are going to counter when we have won the ball, and we are still not going to lose that DNA of the team. We are still going to counter press and get stuck in. I don't want the team to just completely fall off and 10 men behind the ball. Still counter, still attack, but be a little bit more sensible when we've got the ball, especially the goalkeeper. Slow the pace down. We don't need to rush at the end of the day. And lastly, out of possession, we're going to rock the standard line, the high pressing line of engagement more often, and prevent short goalkeeper distribution. So a bit more of a composed sort of defensive line as well. But that's going to complete for you boys and girls back home the Meta 4-3-3 V2 attacking, defensive, and obviously the balance version as requested for quite some time now. If you have enjoyed this video, gets 60 likes, I'll redo the 4-2-3-1. But again, if you want to come over and join the Patreon, join the other 4,000 people, you get so many perks, and I'm constantly added to what you get back because it means the absolute world. But enjoy the rest of your day, leave a cheeky like on it, and I'll see you in the next one.